Hey there, Corey here with the Art Archaeologist channel, and I wanted to show you real quick. I'm doing this started off as a coffee staining session, and I ended up putting dye in with my coffee. These are the cookie trays I dry the paper on, and then here is the dye bath. It started out with a pot of really strong vanilla nut coffee, half a jar of instant coffee, this one here, and this is what, 2.82 ounces, so half a jar of this in there with hot 3 cups of really hot water. And then I added a little bit of black RIT powder dye, fabric dye, and a little bit, about 20% of each of that one and the brown. And I will be right back. I'm going to go grab those boxes to show you. Before I leave, let me show you my results. I'm going to put you over here for a sec. Okay. Sorry for the camera shake. It's a quick video because I'm trying to get these done. Check this out. So I took these die cuts. These are all Tim Holtz botanical die cuts. Okay, and the trick to doing this is, I want to make sure it was in frame, is that when you lay your envelope, here, let me move this. When you lay your wet envelopes down, you want to just lay these across, but the key is to fuse them to the paper. If they're popping up, they will not print. That's number one. So just dip your, I am wearing gloves today because I've got dye in this bath. If it was just coffee, I wouldn't, but since it's dye, I am. So you've got to fuse these down, okay? Otherwise it won't work. That's tip number one. And number two is you must dry them in the oven. If you don't dry them in the oven, it's the heat that makes the print happen. So let me show you a couple of these, and then I'm gonna come back after I've done these and ironed them, and I'm going to show them to you dry. So let me make sure. Okay. So there's that one. Isn't that cool? And then I got the lines from stacking the envelopes unevenly in the dye bath. No. Don't want the bark fest to begin. These are envelopes. These are really long envelopes. You know what? I'll go grab that dye and I'll grab a package of this so you can see what this is. It's from Hobby Lobby, and you get them in the card and envelope section over by scrapbooking, and they're really cheap. You get like, I don't know, I'll find the package. But aren't they cool? And then that's why they have to be fused. If you don't fuse them, they won't print right. You'll have bubbles like this one. Didn't print all the way, and it still looks beautiful, but if you want a nice clean print, you've got to just fuse that paper down. So let me go get the dye boxes and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the envelopes. They are like 8.875 inches by 3.87, so 9 by 4, basically, a little less than 9 by 4 inches. And you get 25 of them for $4.99, but I never buy these at full price. I always buy them half price, Hobby Lobby. And then I used 20% of RIT Cocoa Brown chocolate. I've got to warn you, for some reason, when I do paper baths with this RIT dye here, it turns my paper red, sometimes pink. So I can't get a true brown with this, and that's very important for you to know because you might want to try a different brand. And then what I did was, because I noticed my papers were pink and I had a little mini freak out, So I grabbed the black and added about 20% of this. So now I have this really rich dye, and I have this really cool purpley brown color. I don't know, I love this color. It worked out okay for me. So that's how I got these. And when these are all dry, I'll be back to show you. Hello, I'm back. Okay, I got all that paper ironed, and I wanted to go over all my stuff with you. So if you want to make these papers with the prints from the die cuts, I cut a whole bunch of these. I got a whole baggie full of these because you really want to have a lot. And then when you're recycling, you put your pans in the oven and you dry your papers, then you pull them back out. These are dry as well, and these hold up beautifully. I don't want to take them all apart, but these were wetted and then re-dried in the oven over and over again. And it's very important that you cut your die cuts with cardstock or extra thick scrapbooking paper, which is what I did with both. I used both of those. I used this right here is double-sided scrapbook paper, and then all the purple on there is the dye. So these come out really beautiful. They're really dark and earthy now because I used them, but you definitely want quite a stack, and then you just pull out the dry paper and then you can just keep on reusing. So this bag is full of these. I used both of these Tim Holtz. I'm sorry to move you. I just got to straighten things up here. Okay. So I've got the Sizzix Thinlits Tim Holtz, and let me see, are they? I don't see a particular name, but here's the picture so that you can, if you want to get these, and I get mine at Hobby Lobby. They're like $15 full price, and I always either use my coupon or wait for them to go 40% off. So I get them for like, I don't know, 8 or 9, and I think that's a pretty good deal because I use them over and over. And then when you're done using these for the paper, you have all these embellishments. Oh, gorgeous. I just love it. And then here's this little fence. I also did some fencing. And this is such a bummer. This keeps ripping on me. And I've tried, with my die cut machine, I've tried to make a thicker stack to make it cut deeper, and then I've tried a thinner stack. I have tried everything to not get the fence caught in and still cut all the detail. It's just such a detailed die cut that I'm struggling with this. I'm even thinking about replacing it. One second, I want to show you a tool. I have an in-depth video. It's coffee dyeing paper and fabric, and I go into this, but I got this tool for the little intricate die cuts, and it works pretty good. It's a Spellbinders tool, and when I got this at Michael's for, I don't know, like $8, I got it 40% off, and it helps, but I am still just wrestling. This is the only die cut I own that it's a constant battle to get that. So just so you know, that's that one, Spellbinders. Now I want to show you these papers. Here is just straight coffee stain. And like I said earlier, you have to fuse everything down. This is where I really made sure that everything was touching. And you could even get creative and not touch the stem on the bottom if you wanted to, but this is quite time consuming. This took me, you have to sit here and lay these out on each page before you dry them, so it can be quite time consuming. Here's another. Here's just some fencing. This is an example of air bubbles, which I love this effect, but it messes with your print. So, and I don't mind this. I think it adds to the interest. Then I just did a little fencing over here and some botanicals on this side, and then I spattered this with more coffee after I pulled it out. Now this one, this is interesting. I cut these fencing. I did white cardstock and I did black cardstock. Here's the white cardstock. It came out to this really rusted color that's so matte and just so believable, and that was from the dye I used that I talked about. So, but when I started using these, the black from the cardstock dyed the paper. Isn't that neat? Now I kept using these and it stopped doing it. Like here, this one was black also. So you'll get this, but you'll only get it like the first time you use your die cut fresh, and then it kind of turns. Here's an example right here of not fusing your paper cutouts to the paper. If it's sticking up at all, this is what happens. It just won't print, which again, I don't mind, but I really like to have a clean look too. So here's another sample of that black. I just think that is so cool. And then the fencing doesn't have this coming out halfway so that you can line them up and make it look continuous. So I just took this opportunity to create little gates, a little opening, a gate opening. And then here's this. I really love how these come out. And this is a really good example of having it perfectly fused. Okay, I wanted to show you some others that I did. This is the die batch, and I love this. I'm going to do a bunch more colors, and I invite you to too. And please share with me if you do this. I would love to see what you're up to. And by the way, I'm really trying to grow my YouTube channel, so if you could give me a thumbs up on the bottom of this video, I would so appreciate that. Okay, onward. These are the sacks and things. I get these at Hobby Lobby, and the brand is called Sacks and Things. And check that out. I did brown dye. I poured that in, and one of my papers, like I said, turned pink, and that was not acceptable. So I put more brown dye in, and then I put black in too, and these are the results I got. Isn't that the coolest? The back of them came out really pretty too. I can't wait to use these as journal pockets. There's that one. There's one in here, this is it, that came out so neat. It had, this is caused by air bubbles, I've figured out. So if you have air bubbles in your paper, let them be there if you like this look, okay? Oh, and they're, you know, they're very similar. I even like the graphic. A lot of these have really sharp lines through them. From the way I stacked these in the bath, they marred each other up, which is okay with me, totally. But you might not like that, and if you don't like that, these have to be straight in the bath, and that's very difficult to do, but you can try if you're so bold. I'm not. I just love how they came out. So fun. Now these, of course, are all the same color. Here's a real good example of that, and I just think that adds to it. So, you know, I definitely, these were in a coffee stained bath first, and I want to do a couple more batches of lighter colors, but I definitely am going to continue to add coffee to the bath because I like to get rid of I don't want real bold colors. And the coffee can help tone down some of the dye colors. Now these are different envelopes. These are, and they sell these at Hobby Lobby in the cards section. And they are so cool. They're like 3.5. I think I showed you on earlier. But they don't sell cards to these envelopes, so you have to make your own cards. Easy peasy, you know. Here's some of these, and these are just so, these would make great journal pockets. You know, you fold this in half, here's your journal page. And then you have this end that opens, and then I'm gonna splice these open and then put washi tape on them. Oh, darling. Okay. I really enjoyed making these. Oh, I have, okay, here's the envelopes. I'll just hurry through these. And then I ironed them, and I do squirt. I squirt the whole thing with my little squirt bottle, and I even put water in my iron, and then I turn it to the absolute hottest setting, and I squirt this down. Let me show you real quick how I do it, because it's valuable information. You tend to see this, let me see if I can get you to see all those lines, those buckles. That I cannot avoid. I've been able to minimize it with my process, but I have not been able to get these just perfect. But here's what I do. I'll just squirt this whole thing down. I won't soak it, but I'll mist it really good all the way across. And then I take my iron and I hit this end. And then I hit this end. And then I gently do the edges. And then I ease my way into the middle like that. And I've tried every which way you can think of, and that gets you the best results. So I just thought I'd share that with you real quick. And then I want to show you, I have a few more of these. I am really excited to do more colors. And you know, I mixed like a bright green Rit dye, and it was too bright, so I put Asano or Anaso. Oh, I can't remember which way you say that. They're seeds. They're either Asano or Anaso, and I saw them on a Nick the Booksmith video, and I put them in, and I got the most beautiful earthy green color, and that was an Anaso seeds and bright green Rit dye. Oh, I know, I'm probably saying it wrong. Oh, so fun though. And this works, I mean, any kind of dyes you want to use. I chose botanicals and fences this time, and you can do it with anything. I love that. That might be bothersome to some people, but I love it. I just see beauty in so many odd, weird things, and that's the gift of having an artistic mind, right? And then these I didn't do anything, and this is what happens to the top layer of your bath, because they will kind of rise to the surface and you get these really, really cool textures happening. Okay, and then I did these little cards, or envelopes, excuse me. Too much going on in my brain. And they do come apart in the dye bath, absolutely, but just, you know, run some double-sided tape, boop, 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 done, fixed. Look at that. That is, I just love that line. I think it's kind of cool. There's some more lines in that one. And then these are nice too without the graphic lines going through it. Oh, I had such fun doing this, you guys. Such fun. So if you want an in-depth how to run your oven and what pans to use and all that, check out my other video, coffee staining fabric and paper, and that's a pretty informative tutorial. Okay, so that's all those. Oh, one more thing. I have this. This is not right. It's handmade paper. And I get my handmade paper at a place called Gyrie's, and I think it's a Colorado. I don't know if they have locations around, but they're on the internet. And this is just a natural fiber paper. And I put a couple of these in, and they started to disintegrate in the bath right away. So if you do natural handmade papers, you can stain them and dye them, but you want to put it in the bath and saturate it completely, and then pull it right out just after saturating it. And then I put these on a cookie sheet to dry them like I do normally, and they seared at the bottom of the pan, which I love that look. But I had a big problem. They fused to the bottoms of the pans, and I had to squirt them down and get them totally saturated again so that I could peel them off of my pans. So if you do this really natural cotton fiber handmade papers, you can dye them all day long, but you want to let them air dry. Now you can sear them if you want. I would put that in the oven for maybe 30 seconds to get that, if that, 20 seconds. Just pop it in, pop it out, and get these off before they dry. So I did learn that with this batch, and I hope you join me for future videos. I also just recently made a bunch of boho beads. So I've got that video either already on or coming soon. Thanks for joining me today, and thanks again for hitting the like and subscribe buttons down below. Have a good one.